Nuclear weapons are a paradox. They are touted as the ultimate deterrent, a shield against aggression. Yet their very existence speaks of failure. They represent the inability to resolve conflicts through dialogue, diplomacy, and mutual understanding. Possessing these weapons suggests a nation is prepared to unleash unimaginable destruction, a chilling testament to the limits of human reason. The paradox deepens when we consider their use. A nation resorting to nuclear weapons has already failed in its primary objective, peaceful resolution. The decision to detonate such a weapon signifies the abandonment of every other avenue, a desperate and catastrophic gamble. This is the terrible truth at the heart of nuclear strength. It is a strength born of desperation, a last resort when all other options have been exhausted. True strength lies in preventing conflict, not escalating it to unimaginable levels of horror. The decision to use a nuclear weapon marks a turning point. It signifies the complete breakdown of conventional warfare, a descent into a realm where traditional rules of engagement no longer apply. At this precipice, the world holds its breath, for the consequences are beyond comprehension. The very existence of nuclear weapons raises the stakes of any conflict. It injects an element of unimaginable risk, transforming every dispute into a potential apocalypse. This ever-present danger casts a long shadow over international relations, hindering cooperation and fueling mistrust. The illusion of strength through nuclear weapons is a dangerous fallacy. It is a siren song that lures nations into a false sense of security, blinding them to the catastrophic consequences of their actions. The belief that nuclear weapons guarantee victory is a dangerous delusion. It ignores the reality of retaliation, the certainty of mutually assured destruction. In a nuclear war, there are no winners, only survivors facing a desolate and uncertain future. The use of nuclear weapons is a gamble with the fate of humanity. The potential consequences are so catastrophic, so far-reaching, that no nation can truly claim victory. The very notion of winning becomes meaningless in the face of global annihilation. The only sane course is to recognize the folly of this gamble. Nuclear weapons are not tools of victory, they are instruments of self-destruction, a threat to our collective survival. The immediate consequences of a nuclear detonation are almost too horrific to comprehend. The blast wave, traveling faster than the speed of sound, levels everything in its path. Intense heat sets firestorms raging, incinerating everything in their wake. But the horror does not end there. Survivors of the initial blast face a slow, agonizing death from radiation sickness. Invisible and insidious radiation poisoning destroys the body from within, leaving victims with horrific burns, internal bleeding, and a compromised immune system. The use of even a single nuclear weapon would be an act of unparalleled barbarity. The human cost, both immediate and long-term, is simply too high to contemplate. Beyond the immediate devastation lies a more insidious threat: nuclear winter. The massive amounts of dust and smoke released into the atmosphere by nuclear explosions would block out the sun, plunging the planet into a prolonged period of darkness and cold. This nuclear winter would have devastating consequences for all life on Earth. Crops would fail, leading to widespread famine. Temperatures would plummet, making large parts of the planet uninhabitable. The delicate balance of the global ecosystem would be thrown into chaos. The long-term environmental consequences of a nuclear war are impossible to predict with certainty. However, one thing is clear: the damage would be profound and long-lasting, potentially rendering the planet uninhabitable for generations to come. Section 6. The Crumbling Pillars, Society in Ruins. The detonation of a nuclear weapon would not just destroy cities and landscapes. It would shatter the very fabric of society. The breakdown of law and order, the mass displacement of populations, the psychological trauma, these are just some of the social consequences of nuclear war. The world after a nuclear war would be a bleak and unforgiving place. The institutions we rely on, governments, healthcare systems, economies, would crumble. Survival would become the only imperative, and cooperation, the cornerstone of civilization, would be replaced by suspicion and fear. The social fabric, woven over centuries of human interaction, would be ripped apart, leaving behind a world defined by chaos, violence, and despair. Section 7. A Legacy of Ashes, the Genetic Price. The true cost of nuclear weapons extends far beyond the immediate devastation. Radiation from nuclear explosions would contaminate the environment for generations, leaving a legacy of genetic mutations and birth defects. Children born years after a nuclear war would bear the brunt of this genetic legacy. They would inherit a world poisoned by radiation, their lives forever marked by the sins of past generations. The use of nuclear weapons is not just an act of aggression against the present, it is a crime against the future. The true measure of nuclear strength can be found in the shattered bodies of innocent children, a chilling reminder of the enduring impact of these terrible weapons. Section 8. The true path to security. Peace as the only option. True security cannot be achieved through the threat of annihilation. It cannot be built on a foundation of fear and mistrust. Real security comes from dialogue, cooperation, and a shared commitment to peace. The only way to prevent nuclear war is to eliminate the weapons themselves. We must work together as a global community to create a world free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. This is not a utopian dream. It is a necessity, the only path to a secure and sustainable future. The time for complacency is over. The stakes are too high, the consequences too dire. We must act now, with urgency and determination, to rid the world of these weapons before they rid the world of us. Section 9. A world united, towards a future without fear. Imagine a world where the shadow of nuclear annihilation no longer hangs over our heads. A world where resources are directed towards education, healthcare, and sustainable development, not weapons of mass destruction. This is the future we must strive for. A future where international relations are guided by cooperation, not conflict. A future where diplomacy triumphs over aggression. A future where peace is not just a dream but a living reality. The choice is ours. We can continue down the dangerous path of nuclear proliferation, or we can choose a different future. A future defined by peace, cooperation, and a shared commitment to the survival of our planet and our species. The time for action is now. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose peace.